Hello everyone, welcome to the 17th episode of the Softlock Podcast. Right now it's December 20th when we're recording this. Happy holidays, have Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates. This is our last episode of the year. 2023 was the year that we started the podcast, and I'm glad to see it sticking around at the end of the year. We, of course, are at SoftlockPod on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can find us talking about video games, deep dives into all video game topics that we find interesting every couple weeks on your podcast feeds and on YouTube. Of course, this is our last episode of the year, but there's plenty of episodes left if you'd like to go back and listen to any. We're trying to get those numbers up, and look forward to us making a triumphant return in early January for Softlock Podcast 2024. I don't know what's going to be different, but I'm sure we have a lot in store this year because I have a lot of ideas, and our first episode back is going to be our 2023 wrap-up. Some may say Game of the Year discussion. I would say we played a lot of games this year that I want to just talk about all of them, so that's what we're going to do. And of course, I am Jake, one of your hosts, and the person who will be discussing those games with me is my co-host, Jonathan. How are you doing today, Jonathan? How are you feeling?
I'm the Lethal Company delivery ship music.
Ice cream truck or Christmas version? You in the
The
holiday spirit yet?
Yeah, I am pretty festive, so I would say the Halloween one. Not the Halloween one, the Christmas one. Whichever version of it you can find online to splice in with the episode. That's what I am. Okay.
I was not in the Christmas spirit, really. It is only December 20th, but it's only 5 days, less than a week till the big day. And I just haven't been feeling it. You know, it snowed a little bit over here in Pittsburgh, but not much. But today I went out and did a bunch of Christmas shopping, and then at nighttime I helped my father decorate his house for Christmas. And so now I'm feeling it. I'm ready for some Bing Cosby. I'm ready for some some cookies with Santa's face printed on the top. I'm ready for Christmas.
I really do think that Christmas decorating is somehow one of the most infectious traditions out there, because there's some real bastards probably in your own community who are just terrible people who don't like doing anything, and they'll still decorate for Christmas. And it's what?
Yeah. But then you also get the one house that either doesn't celebrate, or they don't have time, or they don't have enough money, and they don't decorate, and you know that all the moms on that street are talking shit about that house that doesn't have lights.
Yeah, exactly. If they have a homeowners association, they're complaining. They're calling up that number. And I feel like I might be like that. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because my girlfriend will never allow that to happen, to have a non-decorated household. But if I was living on my own, I don't know if I would decorate for any of these holidays, to be honest with you.
I'm going to be honest, as much as I love having a tree that's decorated and I have one right now in our living room, full-size tree full of red and beautiful gold bulbs. You got the pickle, of course, and all these little memory ornaments and stuff. I love having it. I think decorating a Christmas tree might be one of my least favorite acts that I have to do every year. I dread decorating the tree.
What about how much do you dislike it in comparison to the idea of putting down your dog?
Okay, I don't do that every year, Jonathan.
but
I enjoy decorating a tree very much in comparison to that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, see, it's all a matter of perspective.
I think out of the worst things I have to do every year, decorate the tree, go to the DMV, get my yearly checkup, which I haven't been to in a couple of years. These are all bad examples. Things that you don't like to do every year. This is pretty low for me, because I don't know what it is. Especially today. I was decorating a tree today. The star from the top of the tree fell off. Oh. I know you're not supposed to put it on until the end, but it fell off. And I tried my best. I did an NFL receiver, reach with the one hand, try to catch it behind your back kind of move. The star was so sharp, it stabbed me right where my thumb meets my forefinger on my palm, and blood went everywhere. Ooh. Everywhere.
Oh, what the fuck? What are you putting on top of your tree?
It's like this light up star crystal thing that my dad, it's normally $100 decoration that my father is very, very discount oriented, very frugal. And so one year he was like, yo, scratch and dent Christmas stars at Lowe's, $30. We're going to get one. And we've got one. It has one little point missing. Honestly, I wish I had more missing, because it stabbed me and it really hurts right now.
That really really sucks. I genuinely don't even know what to say to that.
But I see, it's just I have bad experiences decorating trees, but I do love Christmas, and I am in the Christmas spirit now. So glad we're there. I think we talked about our Christmas traditions for gaming before, but this year I'm not really partaking in any of those. I don't know. I'm kind of in a certain place right now where this is a segue into what we've been playing, by the way. I've been playing a lot of games lately because I've been trying to review some stuff. And I'm ready to keep that train going. You know, I'm about to cross 80 games finished this year. And I'm just ready to keep up that momentum this year and into the new year. Let's talk about what we've been playing. This episode, I'm going to be doing my official review of the Steam Deck OLED, which I was lucky enough to get. And by lucky, I mean somehow they beat the scalpers. They just made enough. The first company in the planet to just make enough of a gaming console.
I mean, do you think they have anti-scalping measures in place?
They do. It's a little bit harder to get your hands on a Steam Deck than it would be like a PS5. I believe it was that you had to have had a Steam account that is not VAC banned that made a Steam purchase within the last year. So it's like real accounts for the most part, but also a lot of scalpers probably have Steam accounts that aren't banned that have made purchases. So I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure.
But honestly, I just want to hear about what you've been playing a little bit first, because I have a lot of stuff I want to get into with my review and everything, but I don't want to jump right into that. I feel like that's a lot to just present right at the very beginning. So why don't you just tell me what you've been playing? I know you took a little trip lately. You're probably playing some stuff on the Switch. What's up?
I actually think we should talk about the game that's taken the internet by storm recently that we've played a little bit ourselves, Lethal Company. That is, we've been playing a lot of that. Well, not a lot of it. How many hours do we have in it, do you think?
Probably like 10 maybe. I don't know.
Lethal Company. I'm trying to find the weird helmet guy. Yeah, we got like about 7 hours played in about like a week or 2 weeks, something like that. I feel like we've been having
2 weeks, I think.
Some good fun.
But
with that.
for a multiplayer game, honestly, that's good hours, because we're not big multiplayer people, and we're also not the kind of like ring up the Discord, we're hopping on, what are we playing tonight kind of people. So 7 hours in 2 weeks, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's that would be a good average, even.
Yeah. So tell me about Lethal Company, because I think you are probably the person who brought it to my attention first out of all my friends. I knew about the game from online, but you were the one who was like, dude, there's this game. So tell me what's with Lethal Company.
Yeah, so I found out about Lethal Company with like random out of context clips on YouTube and like Reddit and shit like that of like people just in this weird strange planet or environment with proximity chat, and then like somebody gets like stolen away and something just funny happens, and they're like talking to their friend 1 second, and then their friend's getting dragged off another second, and they're gone, and like that's kind of like it, and it was just like really, really funny. And I was like, this game is like $10 on Steam. Me and Jake have to check it out. And you know, for the people at home, this is a early access. And early access should have an emphasis on it. It's very early access.
Well, I was thinking about that the other day, because I was also thinking, you know, it's very early access, but how many of these things are like unpolished, and how many of them are that's just how it is. That's just how the game is.
That's the thing. We don't know yet. It's part of the charm, but also if they got rid of that jankiness, it wouldn't be missed either, you know? I think. But yeah, it's a co-op horror game where you and your friends go, they work for some weird company, weird faceless company, and you go to these planets and collect scrap metal in these like ruins on these planets. And on these planets there's ghouls and goblins and alien wildlife, all scary shit that's gonna get you, and you just have to make it out and make your profit quota, and that's kind of it. And it's a fun game to play, but I do not think the community benefits from speaking about it, honestly.
What do you mean by that?
I do think Lethal Company is one of those games where it's like, you know me. Whenever I play a game and I'm like really resonating with it, I always want to find out like everything about that game. And stuff like that. But I don't feel that way for this game. I feel like so much of the charm of Lethal Company is making the discoveries for yourself and just experiencing it as like freshly as possible. That's like the value I'm getting from Lethal Company. That's the most value I'm getting from it. And I just have no desire to like theorize it or find out more about it online like I do with so many other games. I just enjoy experiencing it. And honestly, there's really not that much to it. And I feel like the more we speak about it, the closer we will be getting to that realization that there's not that much to it. It's a very bare bones game as it is right now.
So I'm kind of already there.
Oh yeah.
And I've been like hesitant to bring this up. I don't want to like be a buzzkill. I just like I'm at the point where now I'm like I kind of think I need to watch a video about like how you play this game, because every run I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time shooting the shit. I'm having a great time doing the silly walkie-talkie shenanigans. But like I don't really understand what we're supposed to be doing. Like our one run that we made it the farthest, it was kind of just the same thing over and over again, and all the like grandiose expensive gear that would make the game so crazy is like so far out that I don't even think we were close to getting it. So I'm like, am I really expected to put in like a 6-hour run in this game where the odds are always stacked against me just to get a little silliness? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm worried that you're right, that it is bare bones and that there isn't much to it. But I'm also of the mind that we may just not know something that could change the game. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. And I think that if you want to figure that out, then you should do it. I think, you know, I'm assuming that we're going to continue playing this game like on and off in the future and stuff like that. So if you want to figure out some like tips and tricks and neat shit, then I am going to take a step back from because I feel like I'm usually that guy who does that, but I don't want to be that guy this time. I just want to be the numbnuts, and I want you to tell me everything, and tell me all these tips and tricks, or like things that you read online. That sounds like a fun experience for me right now with this game. That's kind of what I want this game to be.
Okay, I'll do that for you then, because honestly, I'm not at the point where I don't want to play it anymore, but I am at the point of like, man, are we just going to go to the same planet and try and not die again? With the same gear as last time?
Yeah, I don't think, this is not a game that we can binge. You know, I feel like we play it, and we have a lot of fun while we play it, and then we can but there's like a value in turning it off.
You just made the synapses in my brain connect of what this has been reminding me of, and I just got it.
What?
This Lethal Company is the same thing to me as Sea of Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
Every time there's no proximity chat in Sea of Thieves, I think. Actually, I think they might have eventually added it, because I remember seeing a clip, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. Very similar vibe of like, you can only play this game in like, you can play a long session, but that long session could be like once a year.
Yeah.
And like, you go in, you don't really know what you're supposed to be doing. There is progression, but you have to know a lot about it, and you get the fun out of just like dicking around and being silly, and you just have to like take it in bursts. And it's the same type of game, and I love both of them for that.
Yeah, that's how I'm kind of viewing Lethal Company. That's how I want to keep viewing it. Just to kind of keep that. It has such a unique vibe about it, and there's just I don't know, like those first couple of runs specifically were like magical, because it really was like, what are we doing, what's going on? And I just kind of want to keep that alive. And with its like astounding popularity right now, I wonder if the more popular it gets, the more, because, you know, when something's really popular, there's always going to be, like, haters and stuff like that. I wonder if we're going to be seeing a larger group of people being like, this actually isn't that interesting. Like, you guys all like this, but it isn't that interesting because of this, and that. I just wonder what their intention is, like, moving forward with Lethal Company, the developers. Because right now, it's, like, more of kind of just, like, an experience rather than, I would say, like, a game. So I wonder if, are they going to make it more of like a game moving forward with the updates, with like more clear objectives and ways to tackle like obstacles and stuff like that, or are they gonna keep it kind of as this horror movie simulator? You know, like I'm interested, but as it is, like I don't want to be like a downer because I really do enjoy Lethal Company like quite a bit. You know, how much was it? $10, something like that.
Yeah, it's cheap shit.
Yeah, it's so cheap, and it's absolutely worth the value. I absolutely do encourage that if it's interesting to you, that you should go out and play it. But just don't expect to be loading up, you know, like Deep Rock Galactic. It's like not that type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and this is like the next in the line of games that started probably around like 2019 or 2020 during the pandemic, of like Fall Guys, Among Us, Fortnite to an extent, where it's like back in the day, by back in the day I mean back in our day, in the early days of YouTube and stuff, you would see games blow up, but they were like the games that stuck around. You would see like Slender blow up for a while, or like Happy Wheels, but they were there for years. I feel like games like this is like the next Among Us. It's gonna burn bright and burn out kind of thing, unless the developers can catch up to the hype, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to.
I don't know. I don't know. I hope they can. I really do hope they can, because they have such a good foundation going for them right now. I've never seen a game like this before. The closest thing that I can compare this game to is actually Dead by Daylight. And Dead by Daylight, the only reason I'm saying that is because sometimes in Dead by Daylight, you really feel like you're playing in a movie. You are playing a part in a horror movie as the victim. And that is like the mostly exemplified when you, against all odds, somehow make it out of and win the match, whether by yourself or with friends. Those are the best parts of Dead by Daylight. They're amazing. They may be few and far between, but like it's such a great experience. One of my like favorite experiences in gaming is when a match comes together in Dead by Daylight, and Lethal Company has that same kind of vibe where it's like you are a part in a horror movie, and it really is so effective. The amount of times where I'm just thinking right now, this wasn't even during a run. This is when we were going back to the corporate planet to turn in our loot, and I was like checking something on the store or reading some logs while you were handing in the loot, and I was talking to you for like maybe a minute, and I realized you weren't responding. So I was like, Jake. And so I went over to the clerk desk or some shit like that, and there's just a big blood stain on the floor, and I just had to piece together what could have possibly happened.
That was so awesome.
Yeah, and just like try to carefully and fearfully like sell all of our scrap that we just got, and just like be just horrified until you spawned in again and I could speak to you again and figure out what happened. That's amazing. That's really amazing. One of a kind. Absolutely worth it. And even if you see clips like that online, it's like still different to see you and your friend go through it. So I really do think it is absolutely worthwhile to check out. But I do think that the wider gaming space needs to understand that even though this is a video game, it's not a video game right now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll get there one day, hopefully. We'll have to follow it and see. And I'm sure it's going to be one of those games in like 5 years. Be like, remember Lethal Company? Why don't we jump in for a match? And they're like, what the fuck is this Battle Pass?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that would be tragic. I mean, you know what? I feel like with how it's blown up so far, the devs could probably just fucking retire right now and just be like, eh.
True.
But
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But,
dude, no, don't even say that.
It'd be so funny. She's like, yeah, dope, we made all that money on that game, never making a game again. Sorry, see ya. What else you been up to besides Lethal Company? Because I know you're more of a single-player kind of guy.
I played through the first 4 Mega Man X games.
How good is Mega Man X, dude? It's so good.
It's pretty good, but I do think that it has been overhyped my whole life. I really was expecting a 10 out of 10, like larger than life experience, and it was just a pretty good game. And I was like, oh, You know,
I think it really is. Mega Man and Mega Man X are definitely one of those series that is incredibly benefited by rose tinted glasses. And so if you didn't play it as a kid, then it's not going to be as good coming back to it, but it's still like you can appreciate it for what it is and what it was back then.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm at. Like I played through the first 3. And the first the first 3 were actually pretty much like on par with each other. Like I gave the first 3 like solid 7. I was like, these are all 3 of them are pretty good. Yeah, there's some stupid shit. Each one has some mechanic or some aspect of it where I'm just like, what the fuck were they thinking? Oh my god. For the first 3, and then I played 4, and I played through all the original Mega Man games a year ago. And that series is so inconsistent. It's a good game, bad game, good game, great game, bad game, worst game I've ever played. Amazing. It's like that's like the spread you have in the original Mega Man games. Right now, and I thought I was gonna get the same thing with Mega Man X, because you hear a lot of nasty things about the later Mega Man X games, especially that one, the first 3D one. Really nasty things about it. So I was kind of anticipating to play the first one and it to just keep going downhill. But it didn't, actually. I got to 4 and it was like the best one so far. And I was like, what? You guys lied. You guys lied to me. Well, I checked reviews after I played it. And that one actually is like highly regarded. So I was like, oh, okay. So I guess the first like games are well received, I guess, until we get to like, I don't know, I think 5 or 6 is when it all starts going downhill for the X series. But I've been absolutely pleasantly surprised with Mega Man X, because Mega Man, the original Mega Man series, sometimes I opened up that game and I was just like, man, why the fuck am I even doing this?
I've always been more of an X guy myself. I used to go camping with my mom a lot, and by camping I mean like RV camping, so there was a TV available.
Yeah.
And there was this shack on the side of the road in the middle of like fucking nowhere in Pennsylvania, near the campground, in like the one town that you could go to for supplies. It was a video rental store. But to this day, I don't know if they were running a legal operation or not, because every single disc was like on a burnt CD and was on a blank case with the name of the game or movie written in Sharpie. And
what do you mean you're not sure if it's an illegal operation?
Listen, because I understand that sounds like an illegal operation, but also I feel like something like that doesn't fly in a town where there's like a police station 2 blocks down and they don't have anything to do except for look into like liquor licenses and stuff. You know what I mean?
That's true. Because the police in towns like that probably don't know what a DVD is.
True.
They're like, what? I thought that we're still using cassettes.
They probably were.
Yeah, they probably were.
But either way, I rented the Mega Man X collection for PS2 from that store probably like 9 times. And I know that was so long ago, so I know I've beat the first 2 Mega Man X's. After that, it gets a little foggy. I believe I've touched bits of 3 through 6, but I've always liked them more than Mega Man, except for like Mega Man 2. I don't know, it's just the vibe, the pixel art, I like it a lot. I understand that as a kid I don't know what is good platforming design, but I've just always thought they were better games. How do you think they compare to at least the first 4 Mega Man games?
The thing about the Mega Man games is that they really just like fucking with you. They are really janky. Almost all the Mega Man games are the classic like NES ones. The first 6 are super jank. Like it feels like the game may not even work properly while you're playing it. It's very janky, and that's kind of part, like everyone knows that. Every Mega Man fan like knows that it's kind of janky, it's kind of unfair, but it's like still fun and stuff like that. They kind of removed all the jank. Like there's at that point they kind of polished it all out, and there's no more jank. Like bad design, maybe, but like game simply doesn't work is no more. And there's also, because if you think about it, there really is there's not much of a difference between the X series and the original Mega Man run, gameplay wise. You got 8 Robot Masters, or I guess it's 6 in Mega Man. Is it 6 in Mega Man? No, I think it's 8 in everything.
It's 8.
Yeah. I think it's 5 in the first one or some weird shit. Anyway, you got the 8 Robot Masters. You got the sub-weapons. You have the Wily Sigma stages at the end. They all have the same format. The only difference is that Mega Man X has a wall kick. And that alone completely changes how the game functions. With the platforming, because you have that wall kick, you have that dash. I do agree with you. The platforming is much better. And there's armor pieces as well, which are pretty cool. But yeah, no, I agree. The only other thing to bring up is probably Mega Man 6, and I love Mega Man 6. I think it's the best Mega Man game out there. Mega Man 6 has the what is it, like the synergy armor, where instead of Rush to come in and do like a spring platform for you, he becomes like an armor for you, and you can like switch into him. And one of them is like a jetpack, and that completely changes how you play the game. It made the game so much better to have like a rechargeable jetpack to like fly up and down. Great game, Mega Man 6, and I really hope that one of the Mega Man games brings back that jetpack mechanic, because it was so good.
I hope we get another Mega Man X game. I think it could happen. It could.
Mega Man 30th anniversary is tomorrow, apparently. So, but I think
Capcom, it's $1 million game.
Nah, dude, I think it's run its course. Mega Man is not making a comeback for a while, I don't think. Capcom is too busy doing anything else.
I have hope only because the Capcom has been so great lately about revitalizing their dead franchises. And
that's
so we'll
true.
See.
But I would be really surprised if... Well, here's the thing. Didn't Capcom have that huge leak they had a huge leak like 2 years ago? I remember I did a video on it for my college TV station. I covered that leak, and I'm like thinking back on it. That leak was right, because we got like Dragon's Dogma 2 coming out. I didn't see anything with Mega Man.
That leak has been in the news lately because it was actually a hack that's how they got the information. So it's very similar to the situation going on at Insomniac right now. So people have been bringing up the Capcom leak a lot lately, and it was a hack, and there was a lot of stuff on there, and I don't believe there was much Mega Man on there. But I just find it interesting that after making Mega Man 11, they're just going to leave all their cards on the table, even though they've done such a great job at bringing DMC back and Resident Evil back and Monster Hunter to an extent. So I don't know. We'll see where Mega Man's future lies.
Yeah, I think they really got to, they have to have a really good vision before they make another Mega Man game. Because as it is, most of the Mega Man games are just made almost arbitrarily. They're like, let's just make a Mega Man game, and it's just gonna follow the Mega Man formula, for better for worse. And it's kind of a crapshoot whether it's gonna be good, the most just pretty good, or terrible. So they follow a formula so heavily for the Mega Man games, and I really do think that they just have to fucking snap out of it, because they follow that formula to a T. So they follow it so much that Mega Man 9 and 10 were throwbacks to the NES Mega Man games, where they took out mechanics that made the game better. I'm almost positive they took out, I'm trying to remember, they either took out the slide or the charge buster shot, which is, both are completely revolutionized how you play Mega Man, and they just removed it from 9 and 10 or something like that. And I was like, what? Why would you do that? Especially the slide, charge shot, whatever. The slide?
Well, to cap off our discussion of Mega Man, let me know. Are you planning on finishing out the Mega Man X franchise, or are you probably going to fizzle out?
No, I'll finish it. I've started this journey. And I'm going to finish it. I've played through, 11 Mega Man games, 4 X games. I played through 15 Mega Man games in the past year. Well, I can't just quit. I can't just be like, I'm done.
Honestly, I would have been done.
Yeah.
After the first bad one, I would have been done.
No, I'm thankfully the legacy collections make it more tolerable to play through. So even if I'm like, especially that rewind button, if you're like getting fucked up on a stage, you just rewind it, whatever. But I really just want to get through them because the Mega Man Zero games, which were like Game Boy Advance and then onto the DS, are seen pretty highly regarded, and I'm really, really interested in those games. So I want to check that out.
Cool. Let me tell you about the Steam Deck OLED, which is pretty much the only thing I've been playing games on for the last 3 weeks. And that was a bit by choice because I wanted to get as much time with the system as I could before I reviewed it on the podcast. But also, you're talking to a man who tomorrow will no longer be a console gamer.
Oh, right. You're getting your big box.
I'm getting my first desktop gaming PC. And I've noticed in my life I kind of have my gaming history ebbs and flows, where like obviously growing up I was a console and handheld kid because I didn't know anything else, but I always had a PC around that I could play like disc games that we get at like Circuit City or whatever, like SpongeBob games or whatever. Then I got my first laptop, and that was the only thing I played games on forever. Minecraft, Binding of Isaac, all that shit. I played that on my laptop for years. Overwatch even, all the way up until Overwatch came out. I was playing only on PC for the most part. Obviously, I still had my 360. I was playing games every once in a while. Then eventually, I got a PS4, and I switched over back to console. I'm like, I love console games. I love eventually my Switch, that kind of era. And I think I'm going back. At some point, I had another PC era, but I don't feel like complicating. It's a stupid story. But now I'm going back into my next era of like, I finally am going to have a computer that can run games, but I love the convenience of the Switch, and now I have a Steam Deck that can let me play all those PC games in my bed, which I know is not.
You shouldn't have dropped all those beans on that big gaming box, because now you're just gonna be you're gonna be like, oh, I want to be in my bed.
I am kind of worried about that, but no, I know, because here's the thing with the Steam Deck OLED. It's first, okay, I don't know where I'm going to start this, but let me say, Steam Deck, not as powerful as I thought it would be for some reason. Even though I know it's a handheld PC, I shouldn't expect it to be like, RTX 4090 level quality on games. I expected it to pack a little bit more of a punch, but for what I'm using it for, I'm telling you, Jonathan, it is absolutely perfect. I could not have asked for a better system.
Really?
This thing might become the thing I play most games on nowadays, because it is just, it's almost perfect. I have very little negative to say about it. First, let me talk about so I never got a Steam Deck. I never had the original one because it was always just a little bit too expensive, and I was like, I'm not really sure, handheld PC, is it gonna run that well? But it got glowing reviews. I mean, me and you have talked about it before. Like, the Steam Deck is like, it's crazy that so many people love their Steam Decks and use them so often when there's so many other options out there. But this OLED upgrade, I was like, I told myself a while back, if they ever make an OLED Steam Deck, I'm gonna buy it if I have the money. And I just got this new job and everything, so I had money for it and I got it. And let me tell you, this OLED screen is stunning. So much better than the Switch. It is super bright. I want to say it was like 9,000 nits or something, whatever that means.
Nits.
But like the HDR is so good, even at full brightness. The resolution is crisp. It's 1280 by 800, which is a weird 16 by 10 aspect ratio. But a lot of developers support that now because of the Steam Deck. And it's also 90 hertz. And let me tell you, running something at 90 frames per second in my bed at full brightness HDR, dude, it actually has changed the game for me. I can't even believe how much I love this thing. I could like talk for hours about how much I love this fucking console. Do you have any questions about it before I like gush?
I want to know how hot it runs. I want to know how hot it runs if you start like doing some crazy benchmark tests.
Okay, so let me say I've played a decent number of games on it so far. I think probably the game I've played that's the most graphically intense that can still reasonably run well on the Steam Deck is Soul Calibur 6. So not a modern game by any stretch of the imagination, but even running, high graphics, full resolution, 60 FPS on that game. Never really got that hot. Hotter than a Switch, obviously, but not nearly as hot as my PC would ever get playing something like that.
Right.
The ventilation is great. It all comes out the top where your hands aren't, so you don't even feel the heat unless you actively like move your hand to feel how hot it is. But let me tell you, today I started a little game called Baldur's Gate 3.
Whoa, on the Steam Deck?
Well, so I'm getting my computer tomorrow, and so that's the first game. I'm like, this is the game I'm going to break in the new computer with. Baldur's Gate 3, Game of the Year. I've been waiting so I could play it on mouse and keyboard because I've heard that's the best way to play it. But let me just make my character today so that whenever I get to the game tomorrow, I don't have to spend all that time sitting and making the character. I can just jump into the game. So I figured, I don't need to have a high frame rate for character. Let me just crank that resolution all the way up and have it at like 10 frames per second while I'm in the character creator, just so I can see what the character looks like and get a good feel for it. So I cranked it to like full graphics, full resolution, FSR on and everything. And Steam Deck crashed twice, first of all. But it's not meant to run that. It has a Steam Deck mode, a mode optimized for Steam Deck that I should have been running it on. So don't act like that was the Steam Deck's fault. But when I was running it at that resolution, that guy got hot. Like really hot.
Yeah, I bet.
But at the same time, that's not how the game. That's not how it's meant to be played. All the other games I've played on it, including Cocoon, which is a very recent release and is very visually stunning, was running at full brightness, 90 frames per second the entire time, and it wasn't getting very hot.
Interesting. That's cool. That's what my first concern would be. Is like the me like accidentally shorting out my Steam Deck because I'm playing like, I don't know. I'm playing People Playground and I spawned 8,000 ragdolls.
I think, as we saw with the crash, like I think the system is well optimized to throttle itself so that it won't destroy itself, but at the same time, maybe not the best gaming experience for like Doom Eternal on the highest graphics. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
Anything else you want to know about this thing?
Oh man. Well, yeah. Just one for you, personal question. What's gonna determine what you play on the desktop and what you play on the Steam Deck from now on?
I don't think there will be a determining factor, honestly, because like even Alan Wake 2 doesn't run very well on the Steam Deck, but there's a mode optimized for it. And if I'm really into a game and I want to play it on my PC, I'm gonna play it on my PC. But I'm probably going to jump into it on the Steam Deck every once in a while. Do some side quests, do some like character optimization or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, I think if I'm going to be playing a very graphically intensive game or like a Twitch shooter type thing, something I really want a mouse and keyboard for, obviously I'm going to keep that on my PC. But honestly, any other kind of game that I know would run well, I'm probably going to play it on the Steam Deck over any other console. I've already been looking into like my library of games. I'm like, man, I have RE4 Remake on PS5. Do I want to sell that so I can play it on my PC/Steam Deck? Probably not. But it will run these games at a decent resolution. I'm shocked. I loaded up Doom 2016. That was one of my first benchmark tests. I was able to run that game at 1080 at 60 FPS. Very little hitches.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that Doom 2016 runs pretty good from what oh my god, dude. Soon, Doom 2016 is almost going to be a decade old. We're 2 years away from Doom 2016 being... Oh, Lord.
I don't want to know about that. Why would you tell me that?
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. But okay, I think we can all understand that modern games are probably not going to run that well on it. But if a game like Baldur's Gate 3 can run and look good enough for me to play on there, yeah, sure, I'm going to play it on there. Why not? So yeah, I'm going to be jumping into it a lot. I think what I'm primarily going to use it for, though, is my 300 game backlog on Steam that I have barely touched because I've been very anti my laptop lately for the last year. That's what I'm going to be using it for.
Yeah, your laptop is from what I've heard on it's on its way out. Feels like. Oh,
absolutely. As soon as that desktop is on my desk and I confirm that it can run a game without crashing, this laptop is getting thrown into the closet and it's never coming out.
So sad.
But yeah, no, I love this Steam Deck. Let me think. So I've been playing a bunch of indies on it. I think that is where this thing really shines. This is like, the indie machine was the Vita, then it was the Switch, now it's the Steam Deck. That's kind of the situation I'm seeing right here. I played Cocoon, which I loved. I loved that game so much because I could play it in bed or on my couch. And it was like a phenomenal game. I played Limbo and Inside on my Switch. And this is that same experience, some of the same developers. It's so great on a handheld system. Let me think. I want to jump into Pizza Tower on it. I think that's going to be really shine on that OLED screen. And it's going to run phenomenally on the system. I played Transistor on it. I finally finished that game because I was able to play it away from my computer. And it looked great. Those colors were so poppy on that OLED screen. I loved it. I just poppy, so poppy. They popped out. The blacks were so black. And I just am jumping into a bunch of like small indie games that otherwise I probably would have ignored. The price point is around. I got the 512 gig one, so that's $549. It's a bit pricey, but it's so much more powerful than a Switch. And if you already have the Steam backlog, you can girl math your way into it, which is kind of what I did.
Girl math.
Girl math. It has a Wi-Fi 6E, which I did not know. So whenever I started downloading Baldur's Gate on my laptop and on my Steam Deck at the same time, it was done on wireless on my Steam Deck in 25 minutes, and it was done on my computer hardwired in an hour. It was crazy.
Did you hear a sharp humming in your brain while it was downloading?
I did. I did.
6E, that's so funny.
There's so many particles. All the D&D dice were just flying through the air into that thing. Battery life.
Download speeds though.
It's so good. It's so good. Battery life. It's about the same as a Switch whenever you're running an intense game, but it would last a lot longer than a Switch if you're playing like a small indie type thing.
Right.
But it's no 3DS when it comes to holding its charge when it's in sleep mode. Let me tell you, I turned that thing off, put it in my nightstand at 100%. Wake up the next day, go to play a game, like 60%. I'm not even exaggerating. It's that bad.
Damn, that's crazy.
And
I would have expected that though.
Yeah, and there is a dock for it, so like you could dock it overnight, or you could just plug it in like a normal person. But I'm not gonna do that.
Is it true that you can plug it into TV?
You need the dock, but yes, you can. I don't really know why you would. Like it's not like it's only a little bit more. It's actually a little bit more expensive than a PS5. So I don't really. And plus, you pay for the dock. Why wouldn't you just buy a console if you wanted to use it on the TV? I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good point.
But I think the number one thing that I'm appreciating, besides the screen, because I can't talk about the screen enough, about the Steam Deck that has literally changed the game of how I'm playing every game I've touched on this thing, is Quick Resume, which is a feature I've been talking up on Xbox since the moment I got my hands on my Series X. And obviously it's in the Switch, it's in things like that. But for a quote-unquote handheld system like the Switch, you kind of expect there to be a good sleep mode where every time you open up your console from sleep mode, your game's not going to crash or you're going to be disconnected from the internet or whatever. But when it comes to PC games, I do not expect that. If I'm playing a game on my PC and I put my computer in rest mode, I'm expecting that when I open up that computer, that I'm just gonna like my desktop background is gonna be changed to like a fucking picture of Pikachu or something. I cannot expect sleep mode to work when I'm playing a game on PC, but on the Steam Deck it works flawlessly. And even in online games like Soul Calibur 6, where I'm queued up in ranked, I queued up in ranked. I had to go to the bathroom, put my thing in sleep mode, assuming it would disconnect so that I wouldn't get queued up. Came back and it was still in the queue. It didn't even disconnect.
Wow, that's really nice.
Which I guess that's probably a bad thing for something like that, but you know what I mean. Like it's awesome. I've run some cloud streaming on it as well. I played a little bit of Cyberpunk streaming from my Xbox to the Steam Deck, and it looked great. And with that Wi-Fi 6, there was very little latency. So I am in love with this thing, and I'm sure you'll be hearing me talk way more about it in the future.
Fighting games like Soul Calibur 6 that's probably really nice to be playing that in a bed or something. On like with it still looking good. Can you imagine can you imagine Soul Calibur 6 on Switch? Thinking about it like it's Mortal Kombat 1.
God damn, I can't believe that came in censor.
That's really funny.
The one thing I'll say with specifically fighting games on it, the layout of the buttons is actually pretty nice. It's pretty comfortable. It's very ergonomic. It's very unlike any other controller because all of the buttons are at the top. So like your sticks and your buttons are pretty much right next to each other, and then below that are these trackpads. I'll say the trackpad idea I was a little bit hesitant about, especially after the whole Steam controller thing. But I've actually found some pretty good use for it, especially in a lot of indie games that aren't optimized for controller. Having the option to just whip out a mouse really quick is very helpful a lot of the time. The problem is there's 2 trackpads, and I haven't found a single use for that left trackpad. Not one. I actually, that's a lie. I found one use for it. I was playing a game that was mouse only, and I decided I wanted to lay on my right side that night. So that was a good use for the left trackpad.
I don't know, maybe it's for left-handed people.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess that's fair. I'm being a little bit right dominant right now. But I don't know if it needs 2 trackpads is all I'm saying.
One day, the left-handed people will rise.
Are you left-handed? I
am.
think you are, right? Yeah, I always forget that. So yeah, maybe you would get some more use out of the left trackpad.
No, probably not, because I've been living in a right-handed man's world for so long that I've just adapted. So I probably wouldn't. But it's better to not have it than to not have it, isn't it?
That's true, I guess. I just wish, because my hands cramp when I'm playing Soul Calibur is what I mean, like because the buttons are so close together, it has the same problem as Joy-Cons, where even though it's ergonomic, there's buttons on the back, and that's kind of supposed to relieve that tension for you, but in a fighting game, I'm not going to use the back buttons. But right. I tested some Deep Rock Galactic on that, and the back buttons, there was like a baked-in profile where it was like, this one's the light, this one's your switch weapon, and it like had all the buttons. That was really nice. So I am definitely recommending to you. I know your brother's been talking up it to you as well. If you're ever in a position one day where you're looking for like, I want to play some good games on my Switch, but I just can't, and you are financially able, I would definitely recommend you check out the Steam Deck OLED at some point.
Does the Steam Deck have a microphone built in?
Yeah, it does. I believe it has 2 actually.
Dude, you could fucking stream, I bet, from the Steam Deck.
Oof, I don't know about all that.
But imagine, like, not you specifically, but you probably could, couldn't you?
You probably could. The thing is, it runs on Linux. Well, Steam OS, which is a Linux-based operating system. Right. And I tried to manipulate my save in a game, and in most games you do like the Google, where's the save file in this game, and it gives you a directory, and you just like, okay, click, there I am, save file, open it up, I do whatever. This, I was like, holy fucking shit, I gotta have a bachelor's degree in computer science to just find my fucking save file in this game.
Oh yeah, Linux, you funny
yeah. But yeah, I fucking love this thing. You're going to hear me talk about it a lot in the future. And I'm sure on my next episode, I'll be talking about this gaming PC that I have coming in. But yeah, definitely recommend. Absolutely. It's going to change I've been saying in my head, this is going to make me the person I want to be. Where I'm finally going to clear out that backlog because of this.
You know what? I'm happy for you. I'm happy that your savior has come down from the heavens for your PC gaming.
And he is beautiful.
He comes in a small rectangular package.
He does, and it comes with a case as well. Wasn't expecting that. Good on you, Steam, Valve. So yeah, enough about Steam Deck. Enough about what we've been playing. It's about 50 minutes into the show. We're about halfway, I'd say, if we're going off our last episode. That was so fucking long. So let's get into the topic of the show. This week we're talking about, I don't know if we ever nailed down what exactly we're going to be calling it, but we're just going to say for the sake of topic, weirdest games ever. Bizarre games, deep cut games, games that we've either played or we've learned a lot about or we've watched that we're just like, does that really exist? Did I make that up? That game is extremely bizarre and no one ever talks about it, and I want to know what's going on, and we want to share those experiences with you.
Yes.
Jonathan, this was your idea for a topic. I don't know if you ever were able to recall your thoughts that were swimming around in your head soup back whenever we talked about this idea, but I'd love for you to start this one off because I feel like you're always the one who's more investigative when it comes to like finding weird shit on the internet. So I want to hear what you got in store.
I try to, but I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit of a plagued with what's it called? That imposter syndrome or something like that. It's like that. It's where you think that you're not as good as you are. So whenever you like do something, you're just like, nah, this isn't good enough. So whenever I thought of the topic idea, I was like, this is a good idea. I don't know if I was the one who brought up this episode topic or whatever. But I was like, oh yeah, I should have plenty to talk about. I know plenty of weird games. And then like while I was like finding games to talk about and thinking about games to talk about, I was like, what was that game? What was this game? I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why these games are so weird and esoteric, is I don't fucking remember them. I don't know what they are. Yeah. And then the ones that I could remember, I was like, nah, these aren't good enough because I know about them. Like I was trying to find something that even I barely even knew about, which was like kind of counterintuitive. So I feel like I got some weird ones here, but a couple of them are some classic ones that I think a lot of people, that there's like a lot of information out there about them, but maybe not the average gamer knows a lot about them.
Yeah, and these things come in waves as well. So I feel like it'll be like everyone's talking about these weird like Polybius-esque games for like a couple of years, and then they'll kind of fall off. And then you'll get another wave of people finding out about it somewhere on the internet.
Oh yeah, Polybius, that's a good one. But that's not really real, is it then? It's not really
no,
a game.
It's not. But that's what I'm saying, like games like that, where it's right. These weird shit that is kind of disturbing or a little bit off-putting, and then you kind of just fades in the background, and then like 4 years later, someone will make a tweet, be like, remember this? And everyone learns about it again. So let's teach some people who have never heard about these things. And if you have heard about them, come enjoy these weird games with us.
So all of the games on my list are games actually that I haven't played, except for one. I'll start with the game that
that's funny.
I have played. The only one that I've played because it was super, super strange. I've had a personal experience with it. It's called Paratopic. Have you ever heard of this one?
No, I've been doing a little Googling since I saw this was the first one coming up, and I'm open on the Steam page right now. I've never seen this game a day in my life. What is it? How did you find out about it?
I found out about it because Vinny Vinesauce played it once, and it was really weird, and it was just like, it was a very short video where he was playing in this weird world, and weird things were happening, and then the video ended, and I was like, this looks kind of interesting. I want to see what this is all about. So I checked it out for myself, and I really don't know what I was expecting, because it was just like bizarro, strange things. It was as if you loaded up a surrealist foreign film and made it into a video game. That's pretty much what Paratopic is. I couldn't even tell you what the game is about. There's a Wikipedia page with the plot. It's one of those Wikipedia pages where it doesn't explain to you what happens. It just says what happens because there's no explanation. No one knows why the fuck it happens. And it's like this. It's this first-person like adventure game where you just go through these scenes as these like unnamed characters, and you just like walk into like locations. Sometimes you're walking through a forest and you can like do a little like exploring. Sometimes you're just driving down an empty road. Sometimes you're in like there is actually a modicum of gameplay for possibly 30 seconds of the entire like 40-minute experience that I've had, where you show up to like the back rooms of a store and you shoot somebody in the head or something like that, and like that's kind of it. It's just like it's exactly what I said. It's like playing a surrealist foreign film, and I played it when I was younger with no preconception of what it was besides that I was gonna see some weird shit, and I certainly did. And then the game ended and I didn't know what happened. I didn't get it. I had no clue what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam page right now, and two things stand out to me. It says, cutting between numerous, detailed, and varied vignettes unravel how the stories of three separate characters intersect. But then the scenarios it describes are: 1, you smuggled VHS tapes across the border, and now there's hell to pay. 2, you find an elusive bird in the forest, now you want to take its picture. 3, you have to kill a man in the back of a diner. How the fuck is all of that going to intersect? I understand why that might be a little bit esoteric.
And I couldn't tell you a single thing about any of it. It looks weird. There's like a part where you walk into a convenience store or something, or like a gas station, and you start talking to the store owner, and he starts talking about like aliens and shit, and there's just like this dialogue tree, and it just goes nowhere, and I think you just leave. I think that's what happened to me. I think maybe if you choose different dialogue, you can like shoot him in the head or some shit like that. I just don't know. I don't know what happened. I think I spent most of my playtime driving down an empty road. I remember when I was playing it, I was driving down this empty road, and I just kept driving, and it didn't stop. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Do I have to like not hit the walls or something like that? I think I just like held down the W key, and I just like drove like, it was like Desert Bus, how you're always like driving a little bit to the side. I just drove into like the barrier until the game loaded. It took like 10 minutes. And I have no clue why it happened. I just don't think it was one of those. It's one of the many games that I played where I had a poor notion of what it was beforehand, and I played it and it wasn't what I expected, and that in turn affected my entire experience. You know, it was like the first time I played a Yakuza game, I thought it was going to be nonstop action. It was not. It was not nonstop action. I was playing a soap opera, and I was like, what is this? And then now I'm coming back to Yakuza, and I'm like, this game fucking slaps. This game is awesome. So maybe I'll play Paratopic again and be like, this is good. Remember when I played it, and I was just like, I spent $3 on this? What?
Well, game's deck verified, so maybe I'll check it out.
Is it really deck verified?
It is. It's also on Switch, apparently.
Interesting. Yeah, but you know, it's not a game. I mean, like, it is a game, but like, it's more of a experience than a game. Like, don't like load up the game. Don't load up Paratopic going like, ooh, I'm excited to jump in. You don't like, I don't know. You don't start watching fucking what is it? David Lynch. You don't like pop in a Eraserhead going. Getting your popcorn and going like, whoa, I'm excited for this.
Actually, I do that sometimes.
You pop in a Eraserhead with a big bowl thing of popcorn?
I don't remember the last time I watched Eraserhead, but I've seen it enough times now that I'm just like, man, I just want to look at this. I just want to look at this screen.
I'm surprised you even watched Eraserhead, to be honest with you.
Didn't we talk about that on the last episode?
I'm not
Maybe it was a couple episodes ago when we were talking about Silent Hill. But yeah, I that's like one of the only Lynch things I've seen, plus a couple episodes of... I always forget the name of the fucking show, Twin Peaks.
Yeah, Twin Peaks, yeah. Twin
Peaks but speaking awesome. Of games that aren't really games, which I think there is like a space for that, especially with some of these like more robust walking simulators, but even these like weird, bizarro ones. But if you go into it expecting it to be like a video game, I think you're right. That does kind of taint your perception of it. But if you go in just being like, I'm about to experience art or weird shit, I think you can have a little bit more fun with it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes I wish games had a disclaimer as soon as you load it up. Just to like get that out of the way. I like it when some games do that. When you like load up a game that has like something to say, and it'll like say something to you. I don't remember what game it was, but I played this game where maybe it was I think it was Disco Elysium, where you load up the game and the game tells you like you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna fail things just by sheer luck sometimes. Just keep going. Like, just that's part of the experience. Just keep doing it. And I like it when sometimes a game will just, like, give you that little bit of instruction or direction to kind of put your mind in the right place before you experience it. Just, like, maybe it takes some people out of the moment, but sometimes I think it can really make the difference. Like, playing through Persona 3... and knowing that the game is about death is very important. If that went over your head, you might just be like, this game fucking sucks.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know, like sometimes I like it when games do that. I think, you know what? You should put Disco Elysium on your list. That game is crazy. I love that
Already
game.
downloaded on the Steam Deck.
Whoa, what a gamer.
It's one of those games that I really want to play, but like I want to play Baldur's Gate 3 while it's still hot. And they're so similar that I kind of putting Disco off a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of weird, bizarro experiences that aren't really games, It's funny that you mentioned that your list is mainly games you haven't played. I only chose games that I have played because I feel like the ones that I haven't played, I don't know enough about, and I would just have to research it. And at that point, it's like someone else could just research it instead of me doing the research and just talking about it.
Right.
But so a game that I was obsessed with for some reason back in the day was LSD Dream Emulator.
I think you told me about this once.
Do you know about this? You know what this is, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's one of those games that like everyone was talking about for years back in the day. It was on the top 10 lists of like weirdest games ever, and like every Let's Play channel was like, let's play this weird game from Japan that no one really knows what it is. But then no one ever talks about it anymore. When was the last time you heard it?
Before I did, because I was gonna say that. I say that like every episode.
You say the top 10 things.
Top 10 things in gaming. I say that.
But that's how it was. That's what this was, the epitome of top 10 weirdest games in gaming, because it was on every single one.
It is.
Of the
It's true. It's a true statement.
But when was the last time you heard anyone talk about this game ever? Well, not ever,
probably
but recently.
In 2013 or 2012.
Right?
The last time I saw a top 10 video, I bet.
But so back when I was watching those videos, I got obsessed with it, and it was also when I was big into my aforementioned PC gaming phase, where it was also my emulation phase. And so I was like, I'm gonna emulate this game because I have PS1 emulator already installed. I want to see what's up with this game, and it's not really a game. There's a menu. There's a main menu with a save and load button. But other than that, you just kind of like walk around these like bizarre, colorful, kaleidoscope set dressing areas and just kind of like sit and exist in them for a little bit. There's not much to do.
Right.
And that's the point. I guess I didn't get that as a kid because I was like, what the fuck? This isn't a game. Is this game finished? Is this like a broken ROM? Like, what is this? I guess I don't know. I never really looked it up. Is it like? Let me look at. I guess I should have done some research because I have a podcast. But is it? So it's called LSD Dream Emulator. Is it supposed to be like a simulation of what it's like to be on LSD? Is that like what we're imagining here?
I always kind of just took it as like some of the earliest examples of experimental video games, probably tied in with games like Seaman. You know about Seaman?
I don't think I know about Seaman.
Oh, fuck. Holy shit.
That should have been on your list for weirdest games ever.
That should have. Oh, my lord. I can't believe you don't know about Seaman. Fucking... Okay, first of all, you need to look it up right now because you need to have the visual of it.
Is it sea like the ocean? Or is it like sea like the letter? Okay.
Sea. S-E-A man. Game. And
is Dreamcast game?
It's a Dreamcast game, and it is. I guess I'm looking at it right now. It's classified as a virtual pet video game, and it's this really bizarre game.
Oh, I have seen this.
Yeah, you've seen this, and you get this weird, like, fish thing with a human face, voiced by Leonard Nimoy for some reason, and it like talks to you and. It's like the whole point of the game is you just tune in to your Seaman and he says bizarre things and you like form a relationship with him, I think, even. It's just like I don't know. Can you imagine being like a hardworking lower middle class father and your son got his report card back from school? And he did really good this year, this marking period. So you're gonna buy him a new game, and it's $19.99, and he circled Seaman in his gaming magazine thing. Am I painting a good picture for you right now?
This is the best picture I've ever seen. This is
okay.
Art.
Yeah, he circled Seaman in the thing, and you just see the art on the Wikipedia page. You're just like, oh, okay. But you just want to be a good dad. You want to get your son what he wants, so you get him the game, and you give him the game, but it's Sunday night, so you're like, don't play it until tomorrow. It's late, so you go off to work Monday, work a long day. You're like, oh, I wonder how my son likes a video game. Come back 6:30. He's already home from school, did his homework. He's about to eat dinner. He's in the living room. The Dreamcast is loading up. You're just watching a fish with a human face.
This photorealistic hand go and pick up a fish man from his ass.
Yep. And you recognize Leonard Nimoy speaking to your son. And he's asking your son about careers and like real things. And he has like a sardonic sense of humor. What the fuck would you do? What would you even do? I don't know what I would do. I'd be like, is this video games now? I thought we were doing Pac-Man, you know? Like that must have happened to at least one family, right? They saw their kid playing Seaman and they were like, you're not playing video games anymore. You're done.
It had to. Honestly, I don't know if any kid played Seaman or LSD for that matter, which I don't know was readily available in Japan or if it was more of an experimental thing. Either way, I don't know if anyone played these games as a child and was not scared shitless.
Yeah, dude.
Because as a kid, you're like, I'm going to load up, I'm playing Pac-Man. I'm going to play a game. And then you look at the screen and it's whatever the fuck this shit is.
Yeah, it's like this is not what I would, when I think of gaming, this does not come to mind. And apparently, they made a Seaman 2 only released in Japan, where instead of a fish man, it's like a tiny man named Gobbo. His name was Gobbo. Oh, man. You can communicate through a custom microphone-equipped gamepad, so you can talk to Seaman? What the fuck? I didn't even know about that.
These games are so fucking weird. What is going on in Japan?
Japan? It just does that shit. I mean, the rest of the world's not that much better. I mean, think about it. We just talked about Paratopic. What the fuck is that about?
Yeah, I know, but like, you're not getting. I don't know. These games are so weird. Like, I'm looking at the reason I brought up the LSD thing is because that was the first time I ever played a walking simulator, I think, and it was literally an eye-opening experience for me where I found out that, first off, Japanese only games, maybe not for me, which was probably a bad take at the time. But also, games can just be like an artist doing art, and it doesn't have to be for you. That might be the first time I realized, like, this might not. I think that was maybe the first time in my whole life where I was like, I don't like this, but I don't think it's bad. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's like there's not even enough here. I can't even pin down why I don't like this, you know? It's like
same with Seaman. It's like I don't like this because it makes me uncomfortable. But is it good? Maybe.
Like, who knows? It's like whenever I see this is a terrible example. It's like when I go see Broadway shows. I don't have any I'm not a critic of Broadway. So I go and I see the show and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. I don't, you know, and even if someone's like, I don't know, that was like really bad. Like, this was bad. I saw this happen. I didn't like that. I'm just like, I had a good time. It was great. What are you fucking talking about?
The media literacy when it comes to Broadway for me also is like 0. I'm like, what? That was the people on stage. People were on stage. That's cool. They knew those lines. They memorized those lines.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to see real people like put on a shit. There's something very magical about it. So I don't even feel good criticizing or anything like that, you know? Like,
and then I think about like, could I do better? Could I have made Jake's version of LSD Dream Emulator, and would that be better than what I played in 2015? Mm-hmm. Probably not.
Yeah, see, whenever you learn about the people behind a game, I just want to like criticize it less. Like, that's what happened in the Game Awards. I was like, I don't want to make fun of this thing anymore because, you know, these are real people making the thing. But I want to know who made LSD Dream Simulator. That's what I want to know now.
Well, I think it was I remember looking it up back in the day. I'm on the Wikipedia page now. Let's see. Japanese artist Osamu Sato.
Yep.
Digital artist, photographer, and composer. He just makes weird. I'm looking at his discography. He has a bunch of albums and visual art. He's just one of those like auteur types, I think, that we have a lot nowadays, where they just make weird shit and put it out and hope people buy it.
You know what? And that's good for them. I do gotta say, if I got high or did any drug that got me high, this probably would be kind of cool. But I don't do that, so it's forever just the fleeting idea in my brain.
Well, whatever is not... I'm trying to find a good segue. Whatever is not a fleeting memory in your brain is something that you clearly wanted to talk about. So why don't you tell me about another weird game that you have on the docket?
That was the most bizarre segue I've ever heard.
I know. I didn't know what to say. I don't know how to go from, this game's weird. Tell me about more weird shit. Also, if you hear yelling, I think my girlfriend's playing Bloodborne in the other room, and she's very excited.
I actually did hear yelling, and I hope that she's surviving whatever she's attacking.
She's fighting the final... Well, she has 2 bosses left in the game. She has Queen Yarnum and Lawrence, and she's fighting Lawrence right now.
Yeah, I forgot the game just kind of ends after you can just finish the game once you fight... Oh, wait, no. I'm thinking of Murgo. Never mind. Anyway.
Anyway, tell me about weird games.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Bloodborne. I want to talk about weirder games like Devil May Cry on mobile phones.
On, like, the App Store?
No, before smartphones existed. Yeah, so... This is something that I'm finding out was like, I think it was really big in Japan. I don't think it was very big in the West or something like that. But I think Japan really enjoyed like flip phone gaming.
So I did some research into this recently just for my own devices. And back in the, like whenever these games you're talking about were coming out, there were editors at like IGN and like The Verge, or like probably not The Verge, whatever was around back then, like Engadget, that like tech stuff that were specifically only for mobile gaming, and they were getting like laughed out of the room. But they were like, you guys don't understand. Here in America, you don't get it. In the rest of the world, this is gonna be the biggest thing ever, and it was.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not. Things like Final Fantasy Before Crisis, but the idea of them.
So what is Before Crisis? I always hear people talk about it. What is it?
Dude, I barely even know. It's supposed to be another Final Fantasy like spin-off thing, because we need more. Final Fantasy stories. I need to find the page. Hold on.
I actually know what happens in it because I just like read a plot recap going into Remake.
Oh, really?
And it's like actually interesting story, but like I don't know what the gameplay is. I think it's like a text adventure, right?
No, it is let me see. Real-time action role-playing game. As the player moves in a side-scrolling manner, selecting their character, which can be a man or a woman, along with their... Oh, so you make your own character too. This is what is it? First Soldier, before the First Soldier, and from what I can tell, it is like an RPG. It's just like an RPG, but on your phone. I think it's not like turn-based. It says real time. But from what I can tell, it has all like the Final Fantasy like 7 shit, where with the materia and the monsters and the spells and health and MP and stuff like that. But it's like more like real time, so kind of like Final Fantasy 11 or no 12. Final Fantasy 12, which started being like real time, but it's just on mobile phones. It's like. That is why this is so bizarre to me. It's like, it's not on like, I don't know. Imagine playing a video game. Do you remember when adults had Blackberries?
Yeah, I mean that's what these were on, right? That kind of phone.
Yeah, that kind of phone. And it's like, imagine, and they were playing like Breakout. I have vivid memories of my friend whose mom had a Blackberry, and he was like, "Mom, I want to play Breakout." And he was playing Breakout on his mom's phone. And it was like, whoa, this is fucking gaming, dude. But imagine, instead of playing Breakout, you're playing what looks like Final Fantasy VII. Imagine being a huge Final Fantasy VII fan. And you're on the train, you look over, and some fucking guy's playing Before Crisis. You recognize one of the Turks on his phone. And you're like, oh, what is this? You would shit your pants.
I have good news for you, Jonathan.
What?
But Before Crisis is lost media. but the story of the game was recreated as part of the 2023 mobile game Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis.
Yes, I know. Don't you worry.
And
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure
it's fine.
I don't know. It's like Final Fantasy VII has so many storylines. So, and this is just like another one. But this is probably the one, because what is it? There's this one, and there's also like Dirge of Cerberus.
We don't want to talk about Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah. It's like, we have Final Fantasy VII, we have Crisis Core, we have Advent Children. Those are like the good boys, and then we have like this and Dirge of Cerberus, where it's like no attention is paid to it.
I'm about to read you a line from this Wikipedia page that's going to single-handedly earn this game its spot on Weirdest Games of All Time list.
Okay.
There is a quote-unquote materia generation system that allows players to acquire materia, objects tied to the game's magic system, by taking a picture with their camera phone. The game synthesizes the picture down to its base color, and depending on the dominant color, lighting, and other factors, the game produces a materia of a certain type. That's gaming.
That's actually cool.
I've never heard of anything like that in a mobile game or otherwise. That's gaming right there.
That is actually really sick. Like that works in a casual gaming environment. I feel like that, the gaming space now, of course, there would just be like, type in blue on Google and just take a picture of blue, but that would probably be cool to be playing this on, like, being like a Japanese school kid, and you're on like the train or something like that, and you're like, oh, let me take a picture of like this girl's red bag, and you get like
I need some blue. I need some blue.
you need something blue. Then you go home and you take a picture of your balls, and it gives you like some horrible, terrible material.
It's on your 1 megapixel BlackBerry camera.
1 megapixel picture of your balls, and then you give your phone back to your mom, and she's like sending pictures, and she's like going through her pictures. And she's like, oh, okay, my son must have been taking. What is this? What is this?
Dude, that shocked me that they were actually taking advantage of things on the phone. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool. I gotta hand it to them. At least they kind of did something unique with it, because I can imagine that being like. I feel like that could happen now. I feel like if
that'd be like a 3DS feature.
That'd be like that would have been like a 3DS feature, or if Square Enix wanted to make another Final Fantasy VII spinoff, they could do some shit like that. They could make it like Pokemon Go style, where like you have to kind of take aspects of the real world and like take pictures of shit, and then like, because AI now as well. Think about that. AI now is like so crazy, they can recognize what's going on in a picture, not just its color. So like, I don't know, take a picture of like your cat, you got like summon materia or something like that, All
right, tech bro, I don't like what you're speaking to me right now.
Bring me to Silicon Valley. Give me the deck. What is it? What do they call it? They call it the deck.
They do call it the deck.
Yeah, give me the deck, and I'll get up there.
What the fuck is the deck? I don't know. Well, give it to me.
Give it to me, and I'll make us $1 billion idea. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna be like that one lady that we learned about in one of our classes who was like the scam artist. The woman in the
blood machine thing.
Yeah. I'll be that lady. And they'll arrest me. And then I'll flee to Europe, and they can't get me.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Silicon Valley and fleeing to Europe, let me tell you about my next weird game, Hack Run.
That was a good segue.
No, thank you. I redeemed myself. But the reason I bring that up is because, this game turns out not that unknown. I thought it was very unknown. And this is one of those games that I found. Do you know what this game is, Hack Run?
No, it kind of reminds. Is it anything related to .hack at all?
No, thank God. But so this is a game I found on the iPod, the Apple App Store when I was on my iPod Touch, and I remember playing it like at some Christmas party or something. You know, I'm sitting with my uncles and I'm just on my phone dicking around, and I thought I was gonna like get into legal trouble.
What the fuck?
I thought I was being wrapped up into like corporate conspiracy and like what I thought this was all real. This game is an ARG, and I didn't know what that was, and I also didn't know that going into the game. All the game is a DOS console, just like a hacking console. It's like Matrix style. It's like neon green font on a black background, and it just has a bunch of commands, you know, like help, chat, you know, whatever, and you /help/chat, and you get all these like follow-up options, and it has its own little story, and people would message you in the game, and I thought it was real people talking to me through because the game was like, there was a game. It was like, you know, do this task. I forget what the task was.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
And I'm sure it was just like some stupid thing to keep you distracted long enough that they could like then make it feel a little more realistic when someone messaged you. But I was doing this task. I was doing whatever they asked me to do. I was like, this game's kind of boring. And then I got a message pop up. I was like, oh, what the fuck? This was like a real person messaging me? And it didn't even cross my mind once that it was in the game. And they're just like, hey man, just so you know, I hacked your phone, and I'm gonna, unless you do this, this, and this, I'm gonna like blow up your computer. And I don't remember what they said. It probably wasn't like that, but I did that, and then quickly I realized, oh, it is part of the game. The illusion was not long run on me. I was like, oh, this is a hacking game. Like this is the story. I didn't know the story. This is the story of the game. I'm like a hacker, and they're threatening me. Okay, let me do this thing, and it takes you to like real websites that they built that look convincing for like pharmaceutical companies and I believe like timeshare companies and stuff, and you have to go in there and like find the personal information about these people that isn't supposed to be out there by like quote unquote hacking the website and stuff. And I thought it was the coolest thing on the planet. It was so cool that there was like real websites and real phone numbers. You had to call a phone number to get some of the information, and I had never heard of anything like that. So while this might not be one of the most bizarre games of all time, and it also isn't that unknown, to me at that time, I was like, holy shit, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
That is kind of nuts. And you probably went and had dinner that same night with your family and were just like shitting your pants thinking about the game.
So, as I said, I quickly realized it wasn't real, but it didn't stop me from caring so much about it that at some point, I'm pretty sure I just like snuck away from my Christmas dinner or whatever it was and just like sat in the other room on my phone or my iPod and hacked.
Hacked.
It was so weird for me at the time to go to a real website to get this stuff. Like that's what broke or like furthered the immersion to me thinking like, wait, is this real? Is this maybe a little real?
That's really cool, and it's kind of cool that it seems to be pretty well known too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, clearly it's not one of the most deep cut games of all time. I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but just that experience of me at that time, I was like, this is crazy. This is nuts. Nothing else is like this. This is the best game ever made. No one's ever made anything like this before.
I'm even more impressed that they went on to make Temple Run after that.
Wait, really? It's the same company?
No, it was a joke because
Hack
Run.
Oh, okay.
And then Temple Run.
See, I wouldn't put it past them though, because back in the day, these companies just be shitting out crazy games that got crazy popular for no reason. So
yeah, dude, I kind of miss that era of iOS type games where you can just like where people just be making wild shit left and right.
Jetpack Joyride, Robot Unicorn Attack.
Dude, I played this game. I'm trying to find it right now. Let me see. Dinosaur Hunter. Is it Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter? Oh, yes, it was. Holy shit, it's still on the App Store. 110 million downloads.
Whoa.
I played this game all the time when I was younger. I loved it. Dude, I might download it right the fuck now. Holy shit.
Whenever I saw that Hack Run was on Steam now, I was like, maybe I should play that again.
You should. We should experience our childhood a little bit more sometimes.
I agree.
We don't do it enough. And gonna download Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter right now.
Let's go.
Because this is... Oh, it better be on the Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter. Can I play games on my computer? What? Why does it have an install thing on my computer?
They added the Google Play Store to PC. So if it's on... A lot of the games that are on Android are also on PC.
Are you telling me my ass could be playing Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter on my PC right now?
I think so.
Dude.
Let's go.
This is a good time to be alive, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh man. All right.
Before you get sucked into that, let's bring you back to the podcast a little bit.
I don't wanna. All right.
What else you got for me?
Let me pop up my little list here. Let me stop looking at Carnivore's Dinosaur Hunter. Oh, okay. I also have still on our phones. This is like even more bizarre. Devil May Cry, like 2009, on mobile phones.
I've heard about this, but I've seen things from Before Crisis. I've only ever heard murmurings of this. What the fuck was it? How do you do it?
Have you seen what it looks like though?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Like, what is it? It's not. It clearly is not a DMC game. What is it?
Look at Ever Crisis, and like just look at what. Not Ever Crisis. Look at Before Crisis, right? Like, that game is on phones. That is a game that is on phones, right? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. I'm following.
Devil May Cry. There's two versions. One of them is a 2D version, which makes sense. One of them is actually a full 3D Devil May Cry. It's a complete like port of Devil May Cry 3. And I watched gameplay of it. It works. It is a real thing. It has the combos and the enemies react. It has the bosses. It has like 3D graphics at a surprisingly decent frame rate. It's bizarre.
I'm looking at it right now. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Did you find it? Yeah, I'm looking at the wiki. I cannot believe what I'm looking at right now.
Isn't that nuts? I just found out about this today.
I would be surprised if a game like that could run on my phone now.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you can run fucking Resident Evil 4 apparently on your phone.
Yeah. Okay. But not now, but like as of like 3 years ago.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, this is what gaming is. This is the history of gaming right there. Do you think that like? Do you think it's like as impressive as we think it is? Or like, cause that feels like revolutionary. Like this game was on what's it called? It's like, yeah, we ported Devil May Cry to
on my Motorola Razr.
Yeah, this is a really big accomplishment that we made today. Like, do you think that they were like that or like no? Like what? I
don't know, cuz it's giving me It is giving me the vibes of like DMC3 to DMC phone as Call of Duty Black Ops to Black Ops Mobile.
Right.
Kind of, that's like what it's giving me of that time. But this wasn't in that era. This was in vertical flip phone BlackBerry era. And so that I'm like, how the fuck? I think they're, honestly, so I'm looking at it, it's a Java game. So it has scripting. So maybe it was like someone who just really liked Devil May Cry at Capcom was like, dude, I've been in the lab with Java. Let me show my skills.
In the lab.
Yeah, let me show my skills, and they just like prove that it could be done. The way I'm looking at it right now, I do think it's a lot of 2D sprites in a 3D environment, so that makes a little bit more sense as to how they could pull it off. But still, like, how does that even happen?
I don't know, man, but I'm in awe. I'm in awe of how far we've come and how far we are still like I don't even know. I feel like we're eons away from making improvements like whatever the hell that was.
This came out 2 years before Cut the Rope. Like,
dude, and you tell me Cut the Rope got like what? Probably like $400 million. How many installs did this get? 2?
1. Yeah, I don't know, but that is awesome. I never knew that existed. That's crazy.
I'm just gonna keep gushing about it. We should just move on.
Yeah, you're right. Let me think. What else you got? Anything else that's like weird and bizarro?
I mean, I have a lot of just like grab bag type stuff that we could just like throw out names and be like, oh yeah, I know about that. But really, like, so many of the small indie horror games that were really popular late 2000s, early 2010s when PewDiePie and his associated YouTubers, and I just don't just mean PewDiePie, I mean like that genre of YouTuber who played those indie horror games, like pixel horror games or whatever. You can really take any of those, and I feel like, and talk about them, because they're strange. There's like, it's almost like a street artist in a way. You'd be like, oh yeah, I know that guy. He plays the drums on this street. He's really good, you know?
Yeah, that's like, a really good way to put it.
Yeah, and it's cool. I think one of the best examples is probably I'm Scared.
Right. That's a perfect analogy and example, because I know exactly what that game is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the last time I thought about it. I don't know the last time anyone talked about it, but I know exactly what it is.
I was actually watching a Markiplier video on it today. He was playing the Steam version. They made a Steam version fairly recently, and he was playing it, and it like took me back to that point in time. I was like, oh man, I'm there. I'm right there.
It was always one of those games I was way too scared to play, but I would watch like a million times.
Yeah. You know, white face, and I'm Scared did that is a great example of sort of what Doki Doki Literature Club does, where you have to go into your files, and it's like it is what do you call it? Not an ARG, but
fourth wall break kind of thing.
Yeah, but there's a word for it, like a. I'm almost gonna. I was gonna say parasocial, which is not the word, but
it's like a meta game.
Yeah, like a meta game like that. It's cool. That's like one of the first instances of metagaming that I can think of, like that, where you have to go into like the guts of the machine, or you're like closes out and like a dialogue like thing pops up. Like that's cool. Like that's cool as shit. And also, pixel games like that, for some reason, scare the fuck out of me. I don't know, something about them.
Yeah. It's like pixel versions of horror and like anime versions of horror, I think, are always way more scary than photorealistic or like trying to be photorealistic, because your imagination has to fill in the gaps.
Yeah. I don't know. It's always like, yeah, that's probably what it is too. And also, again, I've been saying this for years, indie horror does whatever it wants. It's like, yeah, we're gonna take your volume slider and put it to like 8,000 and blow out your eardrums. Get fucked. You know.
Do you remember a game called was it I Can See You or I See You? It was like in that same vein as I'm Scared.
No.
It's just kind of like, it was like the back rooms, kind of. I think you were in like a hospital or something. You're just kind of like walking around a building. Draw distance is like 2 inches in front of your face, and you have to like get keys and open doors, and there's creepy faces and stuff and eyeballs everywhere. That's another one of those weird games that I haven't heard anyone talk about in almost I guess a decade, or more than a decade now.
I just hold on. Not to sidetrack, but I tried to look it up, and I was like going through some YouTube videos, some thumbnails. I just saw indie horror game Slenderina: The Basement.
What?
What? I don't know. It's like a slender woman. Slenderina, Slendrina the Cellar. Oh no, I don't think this has anything to do with Slender Man. It's just a similar name. Silly.
Man. These games though, like none of them. Let's be real. None of them are enjoyable to play, but they're so fun to watch.
They are really fun to watch. Well, they are probably fun to play if you like being spunky, if you like being spooked and confused and are willing to go through a weird esoteric experience. Similar to my next gaming suggestion for this, Yume Nikki. You know about Yume Nikki?
It's been perpetually on my backlog.
Yeah, Yume Nikki is, almost in the same way as LSD Dream Emulator. It's, you kind of walk around and just experience these, like, weird maze, like, dream-esque worlds. Very plot light. Really, you get what you get out of, like, whatever you can get out of the experience, that's what you get. And that's kind of it. For Yume Nikki, and there's so many that's a super popular, that spawned its own genre of games, pretty much Yume Nikki type games. So there's so many fan spin-offs of Yume Nikki. Some of them are like more lighthearted, some of them are kind of fucked up, some of them are just exactly the same as Yume Nikki. But yeah, Yume Nikki is a good one, is a really good one.
I think that Yume Nikki is one of those weird games that is strangely underappreciated. Because it's like, without Yume Nikki, you don't have Undertale, you don't have Lisa, you don't have any of these bizarro RPG Maker horror games that we always talk about, like we talked about in the horror episode of the podcast. They don't exist because they're all inspired by this game. Mm-hmm. But no one ever, outside of people who are really into that kind of game and are in that, let's say, community, the Mad Father community, like, you don't hear people talk about Yume Nikki. Giant Bomb isn't putting it on their list of greatest games of all time. They're not bringing it up on, like, the IGN top 100 indie horror games. I guess it's not really a horror game, but it kind of is, like, top 100 indie games of all time. But it's like, no one ever talks about it unless you're really into the shit.
Yeah, it's spooky. It knows that it's like a little spooky. There's some spooky shit in there, and we wouldn't have had what's it called? We wouldn't have had Omori without Yume Nikki.
Yeah, no Omori.
No Omori, and Omori is actually gets, like, Omori is kind of like vaguely reminiscent of Yume Nikki for, like, most of the game, and then there's a part at the very end of the game where it's like, oh, I see now. Now we're just Yume Nikki. Here we go. Like, this is that part of the game. I don't know if you're gonna play Omori. I love that game.
Did I tell you about Omori on Switch cartridge?
No.
Yeah, I got the physical version. That is a really cool physical version of the game with all the shit they include in there.
Oh yeah, they give you, like, the what is it? All the photos, right?
Yeah, there's little photos. It comes in a really cool case with, like, a cool inside cover and everything. Like, they did a really good job with that, and it was cheap too. Yeah,
I love Omori. I think it's great.
But yeah, like, Yume Nikki, I think, is strangely appreciated and underappreciated at the same time.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me think. I'm gonna pull up my last one for the day, which I think I may have briefly touched on a previous episode of the podcast, called "Everything Is Going to Be Okay."
You have brought that up.
Yeah, I don't think we went super deep in it, but I'm just gonna, like, I'll just talk about it a little bit and say, first off, like, it has a trigger warning for pretty much anything you could ever imagine. It's one of those kind of, like, situations where they just talk about everything in its rawest form. Right. So, I don't need to list everything, but, violence, sexual abuse, all like drug use, all that kind of stuff. Super, super in-depth and raw, presented to you through, like, cute little rabbit creatures. And it's
yeah, I've seen this.
It's an art piece. It's a zine made by a relatively seasoned creator in the video game space that I think unfortunately had a lot of really, really bad experiences in their life and in the industry, and this is kind of their way of venting a lot of that and putting it out there through art, which I think is a great way for some people to process things like this. And all it is, again, I think I'm sensing a theme for all of these weird games that we're putting out here, is that the most artistic of them is their vignettes, because people have something to say. They have a lot of things to say, and it doesn't really matter if they all connect or if they have one single message, as long as they just artistically represent their feelings and their emotions. And this does it almost better than any other game I've seen, because it's just like, it's such a unique creation that you have to be ready to stomach. It's very serious while it's presenting everything in like a black comedy, like somewhat lighthearted nature, but it's very serious. And it's just kind of, have you ever been to like an art museum that's doing a special exhibit on like some real world shit? So like the one exhibit that always gets shown on the internet, that's like the overdose victim wall. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but I kind of know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like a exhibit where they 3D modeled faces of hundreds of people who overdosed due to the opioid epidemic and everything, and they make like an art piece out of it. And it's kind of like that in video game form, which I'm glad there's a space for it in games, because you know, this medium is it is the most popular, let's be honest, out of everything on the goddamn planet. People who really have something to say should be able to use that medium to its fullest to make something crazy, unique, and compelling. And I think that this little magazine online game thing does that perfectly well, better than a lot of other things I've seen. And it is highly recommended for me if you're ready for some deep shit.
Honestly, I might pick this up because I've seen it and I'm like, I do love stuff like this, but I'm surprised. It's on Steam. It only has 15 reviews.
Yeah, I think it was released on itch. I think that's pretty much where it had its main audience.
Yeah.
And it's weird for me to say I recommend it. It's not like a game, as many of the things we talked about today. It's also, I feel bad saying it's a weird game. It's not a weird game. It just has very bizarre presentation, but it's real shit. And so I'm going to recommend it the way that you recommend like a piece at the art museum of like, you should think about that. You should read an essay about that. Read on that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't say go in being ready to enjoy a crazy gaming experience, obviously.
Yeah, well, I don't think any of these games that we're going to be talking about today have talked about today are that.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's like where the end of my deep cut games list dries up, because these are the ones I've played. I know a lot of other ones, but I don't know if I would feel comfortable talking about them.
Yeah, I get that.
What else did you have for us, though?
The last thing I'll bring up is the game Moirai.
Moirai. I'm not familiar with this one.
You should look it up because you might be. This was another game that I saw Markiplier play when I was like, I don't know, 15, 14, something like that. And I saw it and then I kind of forgot about it. And then years later, do you know about that? What is it called? That evil farming game? Do you know about that?
No, I do not. You're bringing some weird games to the table today.
Because it's not a game. It's a lie. It's this joke that Vinesauce Joel said once. He made up this game. And he was like describing this game where it's like a Harvest Moon style game where like you're like evil and like fucked up, and that you like kill people and you have to like hide bodies and then like keep your farm running and make sure that like no one like finds the bodies, something like that. Like it was just like a joke that he made or something like that. And somebody fell asleep. Somebody who watches, this is a really, really weird way to tell this story. I kind of botched it already, but I'm going to keep going. Some viewer of Vinesauce Joel who like listens to Joel as he falls asleep, is listening to Joel and he like falls asleep or something like that while he's like saying that, like telling that story. And then it subconsciously gets into his head and he thinks the game is real. But it's like a distant memory. It's like a game that he thinks he played or heard about or saw a while ago, and he doesn't know what the game is. And he's like just driving him crazy because he's like, "What game is this? What game is this? I know about this game. Why do I know this game?" Puts out a community post on like Reddit or something like that. Be like, "Do you guys know about this evil farming game where like you kill your wife and you have to hide her body?" It's like Harvest Moon and you gotta hide her body from people and they come in and like she's under like whatever, and people were like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? That sounds crazy though. And it spawned this whole like community of people who were like almost like it almost kind of like what is it, Mandela effect, being like, yeah, that kind of sounds familiar for some reason. I don't know why. Almost sort of like what is it, like trying to help, or being like they want to know what this thing is, or they think that it also exists or that it could exist, so they're trying to like assist the person, but they're kind of just caught up in this idea of this game existing. And then eventually, like years after this discussion and this like these theories being thrown around what this game could possibly be, Joel comes out and he's like, I think it was this thing I said a long time ago. Like somebody was like going through his streams or something and he said some shit like that. They're like, I think it's Joel. And he comes out and he says, yeah, I did say that, but that's not a real game. I made it up. It was a joke. And then the guy who originally sent out like the post like years ago was like, oh, I do watch a lot of Joel. I do watch a lot of Vinesauce Joel. So I must have like thought it happened when I was falling asleep or something like that.
Can I predict where the story ends?
Sure.
Did that guy make this game that you're about to talk about?
No, he didn't make this game. That is a good guess. Apparently there is somebody out there who is so taken by the idea of that evil farming game is that they're making that evil farming game game for real. Apparently, I haven't seen any pictures of it, but there's been talk online in that evil farming game community. You're like, they're gonna make a game now. Someone's out there is gonna make a game. But point of this story, so that game doesn't exist. That evil farming game doesn't exist. One of the theories for that game was Moirai, because of this like bloody farmer in the game, and Moirai is completely irrelevant to this story besides that fact right now. But Moirai itself it's its own separate story that is also really interesting. It's like almost it's like an indie game. It came out in 2013, and it is like sort of like this social game in a way. The whole idea is that you are like this person who is in this like medieval-esque style town, and you're gonna go on this quest, and you get sent on this quest where you have to go find someone in this cave. You have to investigate this cave. I don't remember if it's like you have to find this woman who's missing or something like that, but you have to go into this cave. So you go into the cave, you find a dying woman who's like incoherent. She speaks to you, she dies, and then you make your way out of the cave. Oh no, I'm sorry. On your way into the cave, you talk to somebody, and you give them a couple of questions, like pre-written questions, and then they'll respond to you. But the responses are like strange. They're not in the style of the game. It's not like, it's not like one writer wrote. It feels like someone else wrote the responses that the character is giving to you, right?
Okay, so I got nipple chills right now.
Right. So you speak to this person, and this person has a knife. There's blood on it, and there's blood on this. Like, he looks like a farmer. There's blood on his overalls, and then you can kind of make a decision. Be like, do you want to kill this guy? Does he look suspicious? Does he look evil? Like, do you think that he did something weird? You've been hearing like weird stuff. Do you want to kill him? Do you want to let him go? You let him go. You kill him. Whatever. You go deeper into the cave. You find that woman that I just spoke about, and she like dies in your arms or something like that. Like, she speaks to you. Oh fuck, I'm actually getting confused about it myself. It's a bit confusing, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, she speaks to you, and she's like, someone came in here and attacked me. And you're like, oh, okay. And then she dies, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I leave. And then you walk out, and you see, and someone, as you're walking out, comes into the cave and starts speaking to you and starts asking you the questions that you just asked the person who came out. And then you get a text box where you input the answers yourself.
This is now full body chill situation.
Yeah, so it's like a loop. It's like a loop you're kind of creating, and you type in the answers. You'd be like, I saw this person, and then like you leave, and that's kind of like what the game is. Like you speak to this person who is giving real responses from somebody else. Not at the same time. It's like a database or something like that. But you speak to this NPC that's giving real human responses, and then the role is reversed on you, and you are the person giving the response to the NPC that's going to be sent out to somebody else.
That's awesome.
And that's the whole thing. And it's just like, it's weird. It's so weird. I'm sure I messed up the order of events of exactly like what happens in what order, because it is kind of like a weird like loop type thing going on, but that's kind of the gist of it. And it's funky. It's really funky, and it's really short, and it's no longer online because a ton of people went on there and would just type in like profanities and slurs into the text box. Say, but after it got popular.
I was gonna say, if you don't know, that's incredible. Like I didn't know, but if you do know, after, like you go and you play it again and put more answers in, I can imagine what type of responses would come out on the other side.
It's like that. I can imagine that being crazy, like playing that and then making that realization.
I wish I was more into like, I have like Jake's Indie Corner, and I keep up with the big indie games, but I wish I had my finger on the pulse of like the Steam game with like 10 downloads that's the weirdest thing ever made, that does crazy shit like this that no one's ever seen before. I just want to experience those things before they get spoiled for me. You're
like a talent doing that. You're like a talent scout. You just gotta scrounge itch data, ditch data. What the fuck is it? Itch.io or something like that.
Itch.io, yeah.
Itch.io, yeah. You gotta just scrounge itch.io, and just see what's like coming out and trying it. That's some YouTube channels have formed a whole business out of it. What is it? Manly Badass Hero. That's all he does. That's all he does.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's like one of the best channels on YouTube. He just launches up and he goes, we're going to play this game. Plays the game. Full thing. All secrets. All right, bye. Best YouTube channel that ever existed.
Awesome. But yeah, that's like, I love these weird games. Some of them are a little bit too deep cut for me. Some of them are a little too real for me. But like, just going into a game like any of the ones we talked about today, not knowing what you're getting yourself into and just letting it wash over you is one of my favorite gaming experiences that I feel like I don't have enough.
Yeah. It's gaming is so wide reaching. There's so many different ways to experience it. And it's almost a shame that we can't experience it all because so much of it is so good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear about more crazy games that did stuff like this as well, that like you don't know it's a multiplayer game until, like, it's not multiplayer, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. You don't know that it's an asynchronous game until it happens, kind of thing. I wish that stuff wasn't spoiled. Or it was that mobile game, can't remember what it was called, but you might remember what it was called. It was like there was a cube, and the cube was covered in squares, and if you clicked a square it would tear off, and then there was like another layer of squares under it. And it was an online multiplayer game where everyone playing the game was in the same server, clicking the same cube. And you remember what I'm talking about?
Wait, what?
Okay, so a big cube, squares. You peel off the layers, and it keeps getting smaller and smaller. But everyone who's playing this game is digging into the same square. So there's like r/place kind of.
Yeah. Wait, what the fuck was this called? What was it called?
I can't remember. That's what I'm saying. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh no! I know exactly what you're talking about.
But it's like stuff like that. That shared experiences like that are just like undoable in any other medium. I want more stuff like that. I know it's incredibly hard for people to come up with stuff like that, and I obviously couldn't do any better. But like, I want that. I want a friend who is really into this shit. She'd be like, hey dude, just play this. Don't worry about it. Don't look it up.
Wasn't there supposed to be something like revealed once everybody?
Yeah, it was they won something, but I think I remember reading that it was like not. There was some controversy or something. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, you might have to look it up and get back to me on that. I don't know if we have enough time today, but I just want to bring this up real fast about Moirai real quick. Apparently, the game ends with the game telling you, like, you decided the fate of this person. Now it is up to the next player of this game to choose your fate, just as you chose for the previous player. And then the game tells you to put your name and email address in, and you'll get emailed on when somebody gets your character, awesome. And whether or not like they kill them or spare them. And it's like, what? That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's so funny, man.
But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up our. The game was called Curiosity, What's Inside the Cube.
Curiosity, What's Inside the Cube.
Yeah, so I'm going to do some research on what the actual thing at the end was. But yeah, that's going to wrap up our discussion of Deep Cut Bizarro games.
Epic.
Yeah, that was a great episode. A good one to end off the year on. I think this was a good discussion of just like, yeah, you remember that? Or let me tell you about something you don't know about before. And I love those kinds of episodes. So, yeah, thank you so much for everyone who watched us or listened to us in 2023. And here's to seeing you in 2024 when we're coming back strong with our biggest episode ever. Maybe not our longest, but definitely our biggest, and I'd venture to say, going to be one of our best episodes ever. Our 2023 recap, where me and Jonathan are just going to be talking about all the best games that we played this year, what we think deserves any little awards that we want to give out, and what we think you should play if you missed it.
Oh man, you're hyping it up. We didn't even talk about this in private yet.
But we know we've been talking about it for like 6 months though. About
oh yeah, you're right.
Hey man, we got to do that big episode at the end of the year. We got to do something. We got to talk about Game of the Year. Like we've been talking about it, but we haven't talked about it.
That's true. You're right.
So it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a great episode, and I hope you all enjoy. Anything for the people before we head off, Jonathan?
You know. Enjoy the holidays in any way you can, as much as you can. Holidays, a lot of fun for some people. Holidays are very stressful for other people. Do what you can, whether or not you enjoy the holidays or not. Take it easy and try to start the new year on a good mindset and on a good foot.
Absolutely. I love starting that new year with a fresh mindset on things.
Yeah, baby.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to our last episode of 2023, and we will see you next year. Okay.
See ya.